Hello friends, hope you are well. Welcome to the Electro Report, bringing you EV stories from around Australia and this planet in particular. If you'd like to support us in making content like this, make sure to like this video and subscribe. So in today's episode, we have royalty rebate scheme for Aussie lithium miners, Japan to bring on the ban hammer, Volvo trucks are a go, and Opel is shocked. And stay tuned for some short circuit tidbits of the week. Yeah, trying to keep it on theme, I suppose. Let's roll the intro. This week, amongst all the other exciting news out of the McGowan camp, like opening up the borders, the McGowan government announced on Thursday that it will be providing temporary assistance to 3 lithium mineral producers in Western Australia. I have linked the official announcement below, as always. With electric being the future of pretty much everything on the planet, Australia could be at the forefront of battery manufacturing. So overall, this is a great news, and it should keep things moving forward. The 3 producers are Galaxy Resources, Mount Catalin Operations, Pilbara Minerals, Pilgongora Operations, and Altura Mining's Pilgongora Operations. They will receive a 50% royalty rebate on spodumene concentrate for up to 12 months. Now, spodumene is the mineral source from which lithium is derived. Mines and Petroleum Minister Bill Johnson said in a statement, "Over the past 2 years, the fall in the price of spodumene concentrate has put these companies' operations at risk and their finances under pressure. This is why the McGowan government is offering assistance. The McGowan government's support is consistent with our future battery industry strategy and our goal to increase battery minerals production and reduce project costs across WA. Supporting these producers could prevent the loss of more than 600 jobs and save more than $20 million in annual royalty revenue over the coming years." So experts predict prices for spodumene concentrate will rise due to the growing demand for lithium used to manufacture electric vehicles and energy storage system. This is great, but a new stat has come out saying that Australian EV sales have fallen. Instead, diesel cars have taken up the slack, which seems a bit backwards until you see EVs getting taxed and price gouging on all things electric in Australia. Let me know your thoughts below. Next up, we have Japan, and following the announcement from the UK, Japan too is whipping out the ban hammer onto fossil fuel cars. According to Japan Times, the Japanese government is closer than ever in finalizing the ban of all fossil fuel powered cars by 2030. And for those following at home, it's only about 10 years away, which is an incredible feat nonetheless. It's an interesting scenario as Japan's biggest manufacturer, Toyota, has been hard at work on hybrid cars for years, and this may be the final push to convert over to full electric on all product SKUs. I cannot wait for the time where you can only buy a petrol car second-hand and electric cars are cheap, and you can buy hacks on the black market to unlock your EV's special features, because Tesla locks them up and makes you pay. Honestly, I'm excited to talk about that when it happens. It's a very cyberpunk-esque theme. The Japanese government aims to accelerate decarbonization in the automotive industry. This ban on petrol cars is to realize Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga's goal of reducing the country's greenhouse gas emissions effectively to zero by 2050. As you can imagine, the rest of the world will be significantly affected by this move. At this stage, even China has set to phase out sales of conventional gasoline cars by 2035. The UK last month moved up its targets to ban sales of new gasoline and diesel cars by 5 years to 2030, while France aims to achieve this by 2040. Singapore also plans to phase out fossil fuel powered cars by 2040. And lastly, in the poor old United States, the state of California is set to phase out sales of new gasoline cars by 2035, but then you can just drive over the border and buy it anyway. Let me know what you think Australia can do to reduce carbon emissions. How about tax electric vehicles, right? That always helps. Next up, Volvo, and they will be dropping some trucks on us well before Tesla's 18-wheelers. The Volvo electric truck comes in 3 configurations: a single axle box truck with 33,200 pounds and 2 tractor configurations, a 4x2 with 66,000 pounds and a 6x2 with 82,000 pounds gross combined weight rating. The electric drivetrain will deliver 455 horsepower and 5,500 Newton meters of torque. Now, Volvo has been running trials with 3 trucks to see if the logistics industry is ready for such a change. and feedback so far has actually been really positive. Problem is the 240-kilometer range. It's nothing to write home about. You may certainly not really make it home here in Australia with a range like that. I could see a classic coal cart return where the truck has a trailer full of batteries, but the dangers kind of outweigh the benefit. Nonetheless, for inner city delivery, it could potentially work. There is a light at the end of this battery range. Volvo states the battery will be able to charge up to 80% within 70 minutes on a sufficiently fast DC charger, like a supercharging station. Now, the trucks will go into full production next year and at the same time open up to commercial sales. So let's move on. Next up, Opel. In the land of Teslas, it's easy to stand out, but you will be heavily scrutinized on how well you perform against a Tesla. Like, they've just set the bar. But nonetheless, Opel has made headways in their electric division, with the new Mokka-e selling out in pre-sale. The Mokka-e is an EV with a great look and some pretty awesome features. First off, the range is about 255 kilometers, but that obviously depends on weather conditions. It could go down to 180. The one bane of electric cars, otherwise perfect life. It can hit 100 kilometers in 8.5 seconds, and it charges in full in about 7 hours on a standard DC charger. What's interesting is that an equivalent petrol car's fuel efficiency would have to be 1.6 liters per 100 kilometers to match. Lastly, the price tag isn't that great. At roughly 55,000 Australian dollars plus whatever import taxes we could add on top of that, could be 60k, we're not looking at a cheap car, and there's also plenty of doubt if it will ever even come to poor old Australia. Now, I'm sure one day an entrepreneur will figure out that we can build EVs in Australia and potentially have our own little industry. Also, make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Let's move on to our short circuit round. It's fast and it's short and it's circular. Looks like Victoria will now find non-EV cars parked in EV charging bays. That's right, folks, you won't be getting away scot-free with a cheeky chess move like that. WA to build the country's longest EV charging network and set a 25% government fleet target. And I'm really excited for those who have EVs, and nonetheless it's a new project for the state, so should bring in some jobs and money. And lastly, New South Wales announced the first 50 electric buses with 70 more on order, a small step to transition the 8,000 strong fleet of New South Wales buses. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you very much for jumping in. Make sure to like this video if you did, and smash that subscribe button to support us. Thanks for watching. Bye!